Greetings and selamat pagi from Bali at Kettlewell. So yesterday I'd arrived at my accommodation. It's a huge beach house in Kettlewell. It's owned by a wealthy restaurateur, and I'd booked a room, and when I arrived here they put me in the presidential suite, since I'm the only one here in this monster of an accommodation. And we're right on the beach. So in the background you can see Sanur Beach, where I was a couple of days ago, and I've been over the weekend at an exponential entrepreneurs event. And I was blessed to meet up with a number of fantastic people. We were organised into random groups of 8. We had to find partners that we felt we'd be able to work with based on our personality, based on our dynamic and profile. And apart from the learnings from Roger as a futurist, as a visionary about how to 100 times the business and the impact that you have the potential to deliver to the world, in these groups, inside of this 2-day period, we had to, from concept to delivery, with all of the steps in between of team integration and assignment and allocation and identifying a customer and a technology and a financial model, create a business that within 5 years would have generated $40 million. Now, for some of you that might be a monstrous task, and for some of you it might not be. You might be able to fulfill that, or have already fulfilled that, within 12 months. Yet for us, from a random start, people that we didn't know, thrown into a group, well, not thrown into a group, but assembled in a group of people which we'd had no previous experience. Our group was able to take a concept, a number of concepts, but one particularly that had relevance to us, and in the 2-day period design a program and create a program that delivered that model to the extent that all of the other teams at the event voted that ours was the winner. That was pretty close. There was 1 point difference between us and second place, and then another 1 point difference between second and third. And if you're looking for validation of what the Entrepreneurs Institute or Genius U could do, then I strongly suggest that you have a really close look at the things that Roger talks about and that teaches. So I'm just going to go for a bit of a walk through here and talk to you as I go. So this suite that I'm in is just kind of monstrous. We'll head on downstairs as I talk. So I'm going to start posting up some, I think they refer to them as vlogs or video logs, but just some chats on things that have relevance to you or may have opportunity for you. Some years ago I read a book by Jim Collins. It was titled Good to Great. It has been referred to as a management Bible for executives. Now, Jim partnered up with a fellow named Jerry Porras after that, and they wrote another book that was similar to that. This is just kind of walking through the entranceway. It's pretty swish. This is a monster of a building. So they followed up with a sequel, and that was called, or titled, Built to Last. And in this book, Built to Last, they discussed the concept of a BHAG. That's a big, hairy, audacious goal. You know, something that scares you, something that's so large that it's almost inconceivable. I think they went to define that it would be so large that externally it would be considered to be almost unfulfillable. Yet internally, your team could see that it was not quite impossible, but it would be such a statement that would transform the state of their organization in a momentous way. So as you think about that, I'd like you to have a look at what your dreams are. What are the things that you see are so far out of your reach that maybe you just put on a shelf and you say, I'm not ready for that, I'm not worthy for that, I don't have the people who can help me with that, I don't have the experience, I don't have the funds. And your mind is more likely to be thinking of the reasons that you can't. The reasons that you can't. And I can't remember who was the name of the explorer that climbed Mount Everest and then was asked, well, why did you do it? And he said, because it was there. So when you're thinking about a goal or an objective or a target, think of something that's really going to stretch you. Now, this is quite different. If you've seen my video on vision mapping, this is quite different to something that is, you know, a 3-month, 6-month, or even 12 to 24-month goal. This is something that's going to be a monster, a 5-year goal that's going to stretch you. Now, what I learned from Roger Hamilton yesterday, or what everyone learned from Roger Hamilton yesterday, was that if we're prepared to set an audacious goal, something that is just so large, if we're prepared to set that audacious goal that we know is so far out of our reach, but not quite impossible, what happens is you create a vacuum between where you are and where the goal is. And with that vacuum that you've created, nature doesn't like a vacuum. There's nothing that exists in a vacuum. But you will find that the people that you need and the resources that you need and all those things that you felt weren't possible and weren't available to you will show up. They'll show up because there's an emptiness. They'll show up because there's a vacuum. They'll show up because you then, with focus on this large, this monstrous, this seemingly insurmountable, audacious goal, will turn up to help you to fulfill it. So, sit down, think about, take the time, sometime during this week, and I'll post something each Monday on where I think I can help you, where I'm thinking that things might be able to move you, support you, encourage you. My company, Pinnacle Enterprises, that's existed for 18 years since I came to Australia, has a mantra: conceive, believe, achieve, and that's taken not from myself. I can't lay claim to creating that. But what I do teach is mindset to create behavior, to create habits, to change lives. If you can think about and conceive, conceptualize, envisage a goal, a plan, a position, an entity, an impact, and believe that it can be accomplished, then you will accomplish it. Go forward, be strong, live, love, and serve. It's been good talking to you from here at Kidderwell, Bali, from the Suwati Beach House.